Oh, another paper chase. Doesn't this remind you of an old storybook?
I don't read fairy tales.
But look up ahead. Stay on this fairy's tail and we'll be within shouting distance of the castle.
Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Play Shadows of the Damned. It's been a little while. We've had a little break, but we're still in Act 4. Garcia and Johnson still chasing after Justine. Just as a little recap, last time we had defeated all three Sisters Grimm. And we know that Justine has taken Paula away. So we're chasing after her, and we're in the second side-scrolling level. We're still doing these for some reason. And the side-scrolling levels being one of the reasons why Act 4 seems to be the most disliked among people who played this game. The big boner level being the other reason. Act 4 being the act where they decided, let's just throw a whole load of new gameplay mechanics at the player. That seemed completely unrelated to the actual game. Not that that's really a bad thing. I see why the side-scrolling levels are here. Because this seems to be a preoccupation of the game developers to keep throwing new and fresh things at the player. They don't want anything to get too stale. But you can kind of see that the side-scrolling levels maybe are not the most polished pieces of the game. Hold on, I want to get that liquor, because that'll restore my clothes. Oh, there's Justine. Also, very easy to die in the side-scrolling levels. So, when you're playing... Yeah, like that. The thing about the side-scrolling levels is that when you get hit, there are no invincibility frames. So if you can't get yourself detached from an enemy when it starts hitting you, you can die in a couple seconds. Which means it's likely you'll be doing these side-scrolling stages a few times your first time through. The free aiming controls not so great either, especially when you're playing inverted. But fortunately, the side-scrolling levels are short. They're just a few minutes each, really. And I believe there's only 3 of these levels in the game, so no big deal. Not really a whole lot else to say about the side-scrolling levels. Oh, hold on. We got to the heart, so it looks like we're at the end. And I should have all 50 white gems. Yes, I do. Hmm? Alright, that's it for that level. I don't know what that little sound at the end was, but that's it for the level. And we've taken another step closer to Justine, and another step closer to Fleming and his Castle of Hassel. But that was a very short level, as all the side-scrolling levels are. And since that was so short, I figured that we'd take a look at another one of the games from one of the creators of Shadows of the Damned. This time, another game from Suda. Last time we looked at a Suda game, it was Killer 7, the game that really broke Suda's name out in America. Now let's take a look at Suda's first big follow-up to that game. Let's take a look at No More Heroes. No More Heroes was released in Japan in December of 2007, with an American release coming the next month. And in America, Suda51 is more likely known for this game than any other. It introduced the punk style that is now considered to be Suda's trademark. While some of this attitude could be seen in Killer 7, it was No More Heroes that really brought it front and center. And it's this punk style that Grasshopper now seems to use as a template in their games. What do I mean by this? Well, stop me if this sounds familiar. An angry, tough-talking protagonist with an unusual weapon travels through an incredibly hostile and darkly comic world towards a goal, brutally killing all those before him and taking joy in it, only stopping to crack action hero one-liners here and there.
It's game time.
There is a bit of similarity between Garcia Hotspur and the main character of No More Heroes, Travis Touchdown, as well as the main character of Grasshopper's upcoming Lollipop Chainsaw, but that game's not out yet. The only reason I bring this up is because No More Heroes was a very different experience all around from Killer 7, which we previously looked at. Depending on how you felt about Killer 7, this could be either a good thing or a bad thing. People who may have been hoping for another nearly incomprehensible political drama with superpowered assassins were likely disappointed, as No More Heroes only has one of those things: the assassins. Does it ever have the assassins? That's the whole game right there. Our not hero, Travis Touchdown, is a wannabe assassin who is climbing his way up the rankings that determine the #1 assassin in the world. Yeah, assassins are ranked in the world of No More Heroes. That's a thing that exists. Or maybe it doesn't. Or maybe it actually does. It's kind of hard to say. Much like Garcia, Travis is single-minded, with his only goal in life being to reach #1 on the assassin leaderboards. To do this, Travis has to murder his way through the assassins that are on the list, as well as also hundreds of random people who are in his way for some reason. I suppose a bunch of them are assassins as well, but then you're also killing this baseball team and they don't... So, in addition to killing assassins, you're also taking part-time jobs to make some money so you can afford the next boss battle. Here's Travis mowing a lawn. And now here he is killing soldiers on the beach with wrestling moves. Another similarity between Travis and Garcia that I thought was kind of interesting was how the tough guy exteriors that both men have get subverted in different ways. In the case of Garcia, even though he exudes machismo, we see that he is quite gentle and passive when it comes to Paula. We hear him relate a story to Johnson about how Paula chased him around their apartment with a knife when he made up a story about being married. We also see that the one enemy in the underworld that Garcia can't overcome is Paula herself, as the only thing he can do is run away from her. We see a softer side to Garcia, underneath the posturing attitude that he puts forth to everyone else. Travis also has a different side underneath the surface as well. Throughout No More Heroes, Travis is presented as someone for whom the video game-playing, anime-watching audience would see as the ultimate badass. He's a moe-loving otaku who never gave up his hobbies, and instead became a spiky-haired, lightsaber-wielding anime hero. But as the game goes on, we start to see who he really is. The female lead of the game, Sylvia Crystal, reminds us repeatedly throughout the game that Travis is still just a loser, and that being an assassin won't change that. It becomes apparent that Travis's career as an assassin is something of a metaphor for his otaku-ness. Instead of becoming an adult and leaving the hobbies that dominated his life behind for something more and to integrate into society, he takes up a totally anime weapon to use as a symbol to kill society instead. By doing this, he doesn't need to grow up, as he can just destroy the people around him that he just never fit in with. He is never able to show true strength and mature into an adult. It's for this reason that Sylvia continues to call Travis a loser, and unfortunately, Travis never realizes this. So even by the end of the game, after all of his battles, he continues to live in his small apartment, alone, surrounded by anime and pro wrestling. Was I reading too much into that? Maybe. Let's talk about the gameplay now. One area where No More Heroes really shines is the combat, which features lightsaber combat that I had more fun with than in any Star Wars game. Also, there are wrestling moves, which I don't think Star Wars has at all. The combat uses the Wii motion controls in a clever way, which is to say that it doesn't use motion much at all. You use the buttons on the Wiimote and nunchuck to do most actions, with motion only coming into play when swinging the Wiimote to deliver a finishing move. It works well, and feels quite satisfying, especially when a single swing takes out multiple enemies. The main focus of the gameplay are the ranked assassin battles, each of which are quite different from the others. These are the toughest, most fun fights in the game, and they're pretty much the entire reason to play the game. Conversely, the element of doing part-time jobs to earn money for the ranked fights are considered the low points of the game. Well, of course, the players want to be fighting assassins, not collecting coconuts, or collecting cats, or collecting scorpions, but I guess I see why Suda made the game like this. He wanted the assassin fights to be the high points, but you can't really make a game that's just a series of high points, or else those points feel watered down. You need low points to build up to the main event, hence the tedious part-time jobs. Though he probably could have made them a bit more interesting. Overall, I like No More Heroes, but I can't help but think that it's a shame that this game became the template that Grasshopper now works from. I would just like to see another game in the spirit of Killer 7, though I don't know if that has much of a chance of happening. I do think it's a safe bet that the future of Grasshopper Manufacture will involve brash, ultra-violent protagonists who curse a lot. Just a hunch.